Broadcasting live. KSLA News 12 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Destiny Patterson. Here's the first alert on what you'll see in our newscast tonight.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
In less than 3 minutes, we continue our coverage of the Derek Chauvin verdict. Hear how Arklatex leaders and some of you reacted to the court's decision. At 10:09, we explain why riding a motorcycle in Bossier City too loudly could cost you some serious cash. And then coming up at 10:15, we share details on bills Louisiana lawmakers are discussing that could impact voting procedures in the future. First, we are going to face the first F word. The frosty temperatures are back in the Arklatex. We're your first alert on how cold it's going to get in the morning. And Grant, I already feel that it's starting to get a little bit chilly tonight already.
Oh yes, it is definitely getting cold out there, Destiny. We've got a lot of those cold temperatures seeping their way on in. In fact, we could be waking up to freezing temperatures by the time we kick off the morning. But for places mostly along the I-30 corridor, that's where we have this freeze warning in place from 3 a.m. until 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. So certainly going to be very cold. Here's those temperatures right now. We're already down to 41 in Idabel, 43 in DeQueen, 46 in Texarkana, Marshall at 47, 53 here in Shreveport and Bossier City. So just a little bit warmer, but that cold front has passed through just about everywhere except for Natchitoches, and they're soon going to be feeling the cold temperatures as well. Good news is that we barely have any clouds around from live first alert Doppler, so we're going to stay nice and dry. It's going to remain nice and clear. Farther up to our north, though, that is snow that we're talking, and it's a little more rare this time of the year that we're still tracking all of this snow. Unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing any of that here at home. We do have some pretty windy conditions, though, all coming out of the north to the northwest, right around 15 to 20, gusting up to 30, but those will slowly be winding down as we go throughout the night. Those feel like temperatures tonight cooling all the way down into the 30s first thing in the morning, then gradually heating up as we go throughout the day. Definitely going to need max warming with that coffee as you head out the door for tomorrow morning. I'll be back in a few moments and I'll be talking about how long this cold weather will be sticking around, plus our next rain chance coming up in your full forecast.
Several cities across the nation tonight saw peaceful protests take place after the judge read the verdict that Derek Chauvin was guilty of murdering George Floyd. Both President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris reacted to today's decision in court. They say this could lead to changes against systemic racism.
Nothing can ever bring their brother, their father back. But this can be a giant step forward in the march toward justice in America.
Today, we feel a sigh of relief. Still, it cannot take away the pain. A measure of justice isn't the same as equal justice. This verdict brings us a step closer, and the fact is, we still have work to do. We still must reform the system.
Local activists shared their reaction to today's verdict with us. As KSLA News 12's Chandler Watkins reports, the fight for them is far from over.
My immediate reaction to the verdict was a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders, and I felt like I shared that moment with so many people across this nation, specifically Black people.
Watching the verdict being handed down, local activist Caitlin Douglas says she reflected on the past year leading up to Tuesday's verdict. The roller coaster of emotions and the sense of hope. A sentiment shared by Ashley Vell with the People's Promise.
Hope has never left. It's always been here. It's just that I think we got to find it again.
Both agree. While today was a step in the right direction,
no justice, no peace.
The work is far from over, especially here locally.
We're still planning protests, trying to get some investigations going. We're just trying to get justice for these families. We're getting there, but just never give up.
Make sure you go out and vote in every legislative session. Make sure that you go to these city council meetings, these commission meetings. Make sure you go to the school board meetings, because those small tidbits are how we can change our community for the future. So just keep fighting, keep having hope, keep having faith, and keep doing what you got to do.
In Shreveport, Chandler Watkins, KSLA News 12.
Plus, our Taylor Davis spoke with some of you about your immediate reactions to the verdict tonight. She shares your voice on what's still the top story on our app tonight.
Many people I spoke to today were shocked by the verdict, and some were even speechless. But they say even with a little justice served here, it still won't bring back George Floyd.
I feel that given the circumstances surrounding the situation for the George Floyd whole situation that occurred, I feel like that is the right verdict.
I didn't know whether it was going to be a conviction or not, to tell you the truth. I pretty much think everybody didn't know what to think.
I feel like, I hope it provides some ease to the family, some ease to the nation. But I'm just kind of speechless. I really am.
I think the whole thing was a terrible, terrible tragedy, and I know that must have been very difficult for both the jurors and the witnesses and the family of George Floyd, and I just hurt for them all. And I think it was the whole thing was just a terrible tragedy that man and those people in this country have had to go through.
It was just. They convict him because of the fact that we all are human beings. And I'm used to using partiality because God is not partial. And hallelujah!
Many people say watching this trial has brought back so many memories of other trials in the past, and they wish they would have had the same outcome. In Shreveport, Taylor Davis, KSLA News 12.
The local NAACP also reacted to the verdict. They issued a statement saying, in part, while justice landed Derek Chauvin behind bars for murdering George Floyd, no amount of justice will bring Gianna's father back. We will not rest until all in our community have the right to breathe. And many national leaders took to social media to voice their opinions. For the most part, people seem satisfied with those guilty verdicts, but they say this is just the tip of the iceberg. Here we have a statement from the Minnesota Operation Safety Net. They work closely with the police department there, and they say, we want peaceful assembly. We know that we have a city that is mourning, that they're in grief. The last thing we want to do is to turn this into an enforcement situation. Then we also have a tweet here from Rob O'Donnell. He says, I respect the judicial process and the outcome. I never defended Chauvin, but rather his right to due process. He says that in part. And then our last one from Chuck Schumer. He says, I'm thankful for George Floyd's family, for justice was served. America was forever changed by the video of Derek Chauvin killing George Floyd. Also, Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards did also make a statement on Twitter. He says, in part, today I'm thankful that the criminal justice system dispensed justice to George Floyd's family and to society. While today's verdict will not bring George Floyd back, nor will it erase years of damaging racism and violence, it is a positive step forward that Derek Chauvin was held fully accountable for Floyd's death. Here's what's next for Derek Chauvin and the other officers involved in the death of George Floyd. Chauvin is set to be sentenced in 8 weeks. He will stay in jail until the sentencing. He could face up to 40 years for second-degree murder charge. The other officers charged are set to go to court in August. They face charges for aiding in second-degree murder and manslaughter. Go download our new KSLA News 12 app. It's free. You can watch raw interviews reacting to today's verdict. You can also hear reaction from local leaders on what this means for justice reform moving forward. New at 10, cruising around Bossier City on your motorcycle with the radio cranked up to 10 could cost you a couple $100. During today's city council meeting, Councilman Jeffrey Darby introduced a plan that would add motorcycles to the city's ban on excessive sound. The first reading of the proposal passed unanimously. It would mean paying $250 and potentially losing your license if your motorcycle radio can be heard at a distance greater than 25 feet. A second violation carries fines up to $500 and the threat of losing your driver's license for 3 months.
When you're going through traffic and you have persons on motorcycles, they are blasting their music. The concentration is, you have a distraction.
The city could adopt the ordinance at next month's council meeting. A new entertainment hangout with friends and family is coming to Bossier City. Surge Entertainment Center is being built at Pierre Bossier Mall, where Virginia College used to be. This is a project put together by Drew Brees. Surge Event Centers features an arcade, golf simulator, a restaurant, and a trampoline park. New at 10, the Caddo Parish School Board named a new member for District 7. Today, the school board appointed Darren Dixon as the interim member for District 7. He takes over for longtime member Raymond Green, who retired earlier this month. Dixon will hold the seat until the election this October. Over in East Texas, the Marshall Independent School District plans to give full-time employees a bonus next month. The district's Board of Trustees approved a one-time stipend of $500. Board members say they wanted to express their gratitude for the work and sacrifices staff made during the pandemic.